In 1996, the truck stop is rocking as Sadie finishes up with a client, and she heads to the back of the truck stop where she finds Levi entertaining some of the other girls. He heads off to handle a client, and then the religious missionaries stop by to tell them that they can still make things right. Theo tells them that all they have to do is repent, but Liv gives him a hard time. That evening, Sadie gets freshened up before the evening, but she notices the pamphlet that Theo gave her. While she flips through it, she starts to get an eerie feeling, but she tucks it away. The next day, Sheriff Rex stops by the truck stop to pick up Levi for some fun, but Levi really doesn't want to go with him. After some persuasion, Levi goes with him, and Sadie runs into the religious girl, Remy. Remy seems to need help though, and Sadie decides to take a second to check on her. In the bathroom, Riley is thankful that she got her period, but when she goes to leave, she finds a dead guy in the other stall. The girls call Sheriff Rex, and he comes to investigate. He checks the trash can, and he grabs the stained panties that Riley threw away. Afterwards, he goes to check with Riley to get her side of things, and he decides that she isn't the culprit he's looking for. After clearing Riley's name, he goes to the hotel mother, Nora, and he tells her that there's not much else he can do. After saying their goodbyes, Nora comes back into Sadie's room, and she finds Remy inside. Nora decides to let it go, and she collects her money and goes on her way. Liv and Sadie sleep together, and Remy takes the other bed. In the morning, they go to pick up Levi and Riley before going to eat, but Riley doesn't want to go. Once at the restaurant, they find out that Remy has been kept away from unclean food such as hot dogs, and she decides to ask how they can actually be lot lizards. They each have their own reasons, but in the end, there's no way that they could do anything else now. When they ask Remy if she wants to go back to the religious group, she swears that she can't do it. Later, they go back to the room, and Sadie tells Remy that she has to get out of the room for a little bit since she's got someone coming over. Remy sits outside the room and watches as a trucker makes his way into the room. Soon, Nora comes out to smoke, and she offers to make some tea for her. While inside, Nora tries to get a feel for what Remy plans to do, and she hints that Remy has to work if she's going to stay. Remy agrees to do her part, and Nora has her show off what she's working with. Eventually, Nora asks Remy if she's even kissed anyone before, and after finding out that she hasn't, she goes ahead and gives her her first kiss. The next day, Sadie gives Remy the rundown on the truck stop, named Candyland, and they tell her the rules of engagement. That evening, Nora shows Remy to her own room, and they let her get settled in. That night, Levi is working a late shift, and he gets the signal from a client that just pulled in. Back at the hotel, Nora comes in to tell Remy that they've got a man coming in to be her first client. At Candyland, Levi's client wants the full package, and he talks him into going to a quiet spot behind the broken down trucks. When Levi goes to get started, the man beats him down, and when he wakes up, the man is having his way with him. When the man finishes, Levi grabs a truck part and bashes the man's head in. Back at the motel, Remy welcomes her first client, and it turns out to be a pastor. He plays nice with her, but the closer they get to doing it, the more nervous Remy gets. After he takes his teeth out, he gets right to it, but she ends up suffocating him while he's down there. When she gets up, she grabs her crucifix, and she opens it to reveal a blade. As she plays with the body, she hears a knock at the door, and she hides the body as best as she can. When she answers the door, she finds Sadie there to congratulate her on her first time, and the other girls follow after to celebrate with a cupcake. They don't know that the father's body is hiding under the bed. Outside, Nora smokes, and she watches as Levi limps back to the hotel. He heads inside, and they call Sheriff Rex to hear his side of the story. When Rex gets there, he assumes that his client is the one responsible for the dead guy from earlier, and he tells them that he'll just clean it up himself. After they clean up the body, Rex tells Levi that he's so glad to see him okay. Rex tries to come on to him, and Levi has to tell him that he can't deal with this tonight of all nights. Rex is furious, but they head out without another word. The next morning, Riley wakes up to knocking at the door. and they find Theo waiting there to see Remy. She assures the other girls that she'll be okay, and they head out to give her privacy. Theo tells Remy that her mind has been poisoned, and he tells her that her mother's ideas were the reason that she was sent away from the group. Remy disagrees with him though, and Theo can't stand it. He tells her that he and the elders have decided to start moving, and they'll be on their way in the morning. He tells her that he thought he owed it to her to give her the opportunity to come with them, and he sends little Jonah in to say goodbye to his sister. After they leave, Remy gets down on her knees and prays for guidance. Later that day at Candyland, the girls get to work, and a trucker signals from the Deep Truck neighborhood. Riley and Sadie want to eat first though, and Remy decides to take her chance on her own. Remy hops in the truck, and the client is ready to go. Remy tries to go for a condom, but he's not having that. When she still goes for it, he grabs hold of her and tries to force her, but Remy yanks out her crucifix knife and puts an end to him. Remy heads to the bathroom to clean herself up, and Liv runs into her at the sink. Liv notices the crucifix knife, and Remy ends her too. When she notices someone is coming in, she hobbles into the stall with Liv, but the bystander comes to check on them when she hears Liv struggling. Remy takes out the bystander too. Pretty soon, there'll be no one left at Candyland the way Remy is working. After cleaning up, Remy goes back outside and eats a snowball with Levi, but soon she's interrupted when another client pulls up. Remy heads to the passenger seat, but this is the man's first time. Remy sees this as a chance to cleanse someone of their sins, and as he goes to leave, she ends him the same way as the first victim. Eventually, the paramedics are called out, and they take away all of the bodies. Sadie is torn up by the loss of Liv, and they all head home for the day. The girls apologize to Sadie for the loss of Liv, and Nora tries to comfort the girls outside. She tells them that no one is going to work tonight, and Remy heads to her room to lay and admire the dead body under her bed. Soon, Santa Bruce pulls up to get some action, but when Nora answers the door, she invites him in to tell him about everything that's been happening. He apologizes for even stopping, and he tells her that he'll head out. Nora feels bad though, and she checks to see if any of the other girls are feeling up to working him. He ends up going to Riley's room, and they enjoy their time. Meanwhile, Remy heads to Levi's room, and she checks in to see how he's doing after the hard day they've had. The two of them end up dancing, and this turns into so much more. Of course, Remy ends up cleansing Levi, and that's the end of him. Down the hall, Bruce finishes up with Riley, and he goes to leave. As he passes Levi's room, Remy grabs her crucifix and goes to cleanse the rest of the girls. She starts with Nora, and Riley goes to Sadie's room. Sadie is packing up, and she tells her that she's done with this life. They say their goodbyes to one another, and Riley heads over to Nora's room. When Nora doesn't answer, she heads down to Remy's room, but she doesn't get an answer here either. Next, she tries Levi's room, but then Remy pops up and cleanses her in the hallway. Remy takes her body back to her room, and she prays over her before going to take a shower. While Sadie continues to pack up, she notices the religious pamphlet again, but she's startled when Remy comes in wearing her old dress. Sadie tells her that she's leaving because she needs a change, and Remy tells her that she's going home too. Remy tries to get Sadie to come with her, but Sadie thinks that this is something that she has to do on her own. The two of them hug it out, and Remy tells her that Riley, Levi, and Liv are coming too. Now, Sadie is really concerned, and she goes to check on the others. When she goes into Levi's room, she finds him and Riley laid out on the bed, and Remy tells her that they've been cleansed. Sadie makes it clear that she's not going with her as she spits in Remy's face, but Remy takes this chance to cleanse her too. Just then, Rex pulls up to the hotel, and he goes to talk to Nora. When he finds her body on the ground, he tries to call out to everyone else. He ends up going to Levi's room where he finds Remy crying at the feet of the other victims. When he sees Levi, he cries at his feet too. Later, he gives Remy a ride to her church's house, and they walk inside to find that the other members have already left Remy here. Every single one of them is dead, and Remy is mad because they said they were leaving in the morning. She comes across Jonah, and she says her goodbyes. She reveals her true self to Rex, and she cleanses herself. This was surprisingly well done, and it's nice to see a change of scenery by using a truck stop with lot lizards. This was a surprising gem. And that wraps up this recap. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this recap, please subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss a single video.